Breaking news here on Martyn Lucas Investor. Let's talk NVIDIA. What's happening this morning? In this video, I'm going to give you when I think the bottom is going to be in. I'm going to give you some analysis, some news, why it's going down today, what's going to drive it up. I'm going to show you the inside trading, who's buying, the profitability, the solvency score, the margins, latest news and trends, and economic calendar data that is driving this at the moment, and how it correlates to the S&P 500, which, as you can see, is also down today. But NVIDIA is taking a much bigger drop. Is this good news? You're damn right it's good news. Sometimes you need a stock to sell off to come back and create all-time highs. So let's cover all of those points live now. If this interests you, please do smash the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. We aim to be the most honest, real-life channel in the world. Sensei recently did a chart for you and said that NVIDIA could drop to $90, and that is on my channel as well. If you want to go and look at that, the links are below in the description, and I'll put them above my head and at the end of this video as well, so you've got all of that. But let me cover all that news, so without further ado, let's get straight into it. First of all, it's a week of news. We've had several years now where bad news is good news and good news is bad news. Now we're returning to normality where good news is good news and bad news is bad news. Makes sense? Did I confuse you? I hope not. Because we've got some big numbers around the corner, and then the FOMC report live next week, of course, on the show Wednesday. We're going to cover that live, a bigger event, the FOMC report. That's when we finally get the first rate cuts, which I predicted 18 months ago would come the summer of 2024. And then I believe we're going to get a rate cut of 0.5% every single month after that for a year. We're going to be a bull market. Everything's going to be fine, and it's going to be great. However, doesn't affect big businesses like NVIDIA as much as small caps, because big businesses don't really care about interest rates. In fact, it crushes the competition and they earn money on their piles of cash. So it doesn't bother them too much, but it does certainly affect the small businesses. But long term, it's good for all businesses, all right? So first of all, this is the news that's driving everything this morning. As I'm making this video, we're just 18 minutes before the manufacturing numbers. So these are very, very important numbers. That's why we're dropping at the moment. We're dropping just before the numbers. It's perfectly normal, happens all the time. Then, of course, this time tomorrow, we've got the JOLTS report, G-A-O-L-T, jobs openings. That is tomorrow. People are fearful of that. Then on Thursday, we've got the ISM services, another major event. Then we've got non-farm payrolls on Friday. A lot of very important information coming up as we keep scrolling on the screen. You shall see we've got just a few more days to go. Keep on going. We got PPI, CPI coming in now on the Wednesday. Here it comes. There it is. That's the big event we're all tuned into. The Fed rate decision. All right, so we're all looking forward to that. So what we're going to get now, as we always do, is volatility leading up to these major economic data events. And they are pivotal because we've not had good news is good news and bad news is bad news for nearly 2-3 years. So now everything is recalibrating and getting ready. So that's all good, right? Let me now go into some NVIDIA news. Before as I do, I'm going to share with you the ratings first of all. Seeking Alpha analysts. Always be careful. I'm a Seeking Alpha analyst. You don't have to be a financial expert. You just have to have an opinion and broadcast. They're saying a hold. Just bear that in mind. Wall Street, strong buy. Strong buy from Wall Street now at this level, going down here. Quant, which is the AI software for Seeking Alpha, they are saying a hold. Now, I'm going to give you in the chat right now my Seeking Alpha. Without my referral, you don't get $25 off. You don't get a free trial. There it is. I'll also put it below in the description. If we look at the factor grades, the valuation is F, but it's now coming down dramatically. Growth is A+, profitability is A+, momentum is A+, and revisions is B+. But this valuation will change today during our event because of the price at the moment. All right, good stuff. Let me now give you some of the news. Now, we've just come to the end of earnings season, so we need to cover the Mag 7 and see how things have changed. I'm also, once I've gone through all of this news, I'm going to give you this valuation here. You can see $85.56, share with you all the numbers, and you can review the stock in detail for a full analysis. We'll come to that in a moment. But before that, though, let's cover this latest news and see if we've got a good buy now. We know we have, but this is for those that haven't reviewed the stock for a while, just to show you. I already know it's a great buy, and if the S&P goes down lower, I will certainly be buying more again, using more margin. Here's how the Magnificent Seven fared this earnings season. It's worth now recapping our Mag 7 stocks. Now we can see where things are going. Take a breather just before the jolts, just before FOMC, and reassess. While the earnings season got off to a rough start for the Magnificent Seven when Tesla missed quarterly earnings estimates, let's look at how the group fared in Q2 as they continue to weather a wave of volatility. A lot of stocks have been, high-tech stocks have been dumped. NVIDIA is now the latest to move to the Russell because rates are going to come down, to buy cheap rubbish, to scalp it, to take profits, to buy it back. We know what's going to happen. This is just trading. This is not investing. This is trading. As an investor, I'm going, great, sell it all off. Dump NVIDIA. Send it to $1 if you like, and I'll buy every share there is. This is all good for me as an investor. In terms of stock performance, all but one of the Magnificent Seven stocks are in positive territory for the year, with Tesla being the outlier. Amazon shares skidded more than 9% as worries about consumer spending have cropped up. And while much of the attention was focused on the health of the consumer, Amazon Web Services grew 19% during the second quarter. We know the spending is up now. We've got those figures, and the economy is strong. Soft landing is virtually guaranteed. Amazon Web Services grew 19% during the second quarter, accounting for $26.3 billion in revenue, well above the Wall Street consensus of $17.6. It's important for NVIDIA because Amazon is spending money with NVIDIA. That reacceleration after last year's headwinds could be a boost for the tech giant, RBC analysis say. Google, look at those. Google spend with NVIDIA. Stock fell despite the company posting better than expected growth in revenue and profits. I know, because they're paying more now in ad revenue, because businesses are spending more to advertise with Google. So as a YouTuber, I'm not a YouTuber, I get it, all right. But as someone who makes a living from YouTube, I earn more money now because I can tell you now my ad revenue, my CPM has gone up. That's a good sign of the economy. Very, very good. Second quarter revenue rose 14% to $84.7 billion as cloud revenue surpassed $10 billion for the first time. The tech giant also reported a profit of $1.89 per share compared to a profit of 45 cents per share during the comparable period a year ago. Very, very important stuff. All these tech giants are doing well. So it's a time to accumulate more NVIDIA as those that trade. Remember, some of the people bought NVIDIA for pennies. Remember, why wouldn't you trade and take some profit? Because you can drive it down to buy it back for the next rally. It makes perfect sense. What about Microsoft? They also spend with NVIDIA. Fiscal fourth quarter results and guidance for the first quarter. Wall Street debating on whether there was enough to keep the artificial intelligence-inspired gravy train running or whether it was losing steam. Meanwhile, Apple quarterly results and early outlook for the coming year received praise, with several brokerages pointing on the potential for the next iPhone and the tech giant's artificial intelligence strategy. Tesla shares fell after reporting lower EPS and operating income than anticipated. Tesla spent money with NVIDIA. The company reported that revenue was up 2.3% year over year in the second quarter to $25.5 billion. However, profits fell by 0.52 per share compared to 91 per share a year ago. Tesla also warned of margin pressures on its Cybertruck Model 3 from tariffs on raw materials and finished goods. Turning now to Meta, we've got NVIDIA coming up. You don't want to miss it. Turn to social media at giants, Meta platforms. The company reported strong results and issued forecasts above expectations, pushing top Wall Street analysts to maintain their bullish view. Shares of the company rose as much as 11% to a session high of 527. The stock is up 47% so far this year. JPM thinks Meta is showing signs of progress across three key areas of its broader AI strategy: core FOA improvements, new opportunities and experiences, and 3, scaling the metaverse. NVIDIA, what we're all here for, right? Second quarter results and guidance that topped estimates, leading to much praise from Wall Street. Firms that seems to be running out of ways to praise the Jensen Huang-led company. The semiconductor giant said it sees no slowdown in the artificial intelligence spending boom that has powered it to a near $3 trillion valuation. Much more to come. So we've got no real concerns with NVIDIA and the other stocks at all. Right, let's move on to this. This is just out a few moments, a couple of days, yesterday, I think, 2 days ago, I beg your pardon. Trending stocks this week as turbulent August comes to an end. September is regarded as a slow month. I don't see it this time around though, because NVIDIA has just become too cheap. Let's read this and then we're going to go the analysis on the numbers of NVIDIA. Stocks climb in the final stretch of August as the turbulent month that saw a global stock market rout come to an end. August began with the sell-off in stocks, with losses cascading tech shares as fears of a looming recession intensified. No recession, soft landing. The downturn was triggered by a weak US payroll report early in the month and the subsequent unwinding of the so-called Japanese yen carry trade. Yes, that hasn't completed though, but it's working its way out of the system, and as long as it continues working its way out of the system, it is fine. That's people borrowing money on the cheap yen to over leverage, and then of course they get liquidated and drives everything down. But that's improving slowly, and we want slow progress. However, a solid recovery since then resulted in the global equities recording a 4-month of gains. The S&P 500 on Friday climbed 2.8% for August to close at 5,648.38. Amid data showing the economy is holding up, Fed's preferred inflation metric rose at a mild pace in last month, while consumer sentiment improved for the first time in 5 months. All good news. The week also saw the release of highly anticipated quarterly results by NVIDIA, perhaps the world's most influential stock, and Berkshire Hathaway, topping $1 trillion in market value. As attention now turns to September, the Fed's decision on rate cuts. Now, we will cover that event live. Book your seat for that now. You don't want to miss it. It's pivotal for NVIDIA. It's pivotal for the market. We'll cover it live. Expect volatility going into it, which is exactly what we're getting now. It's just an opportunity to buy more. And if it goes low enough, I will certainly buy a lot more of the S&P, which is how I own NVIDIA. NVIDIA shares dropped 8% in the week after the chipmaker issued a sale forecast that fell short of some of the most optimistic estimates, but still fantastic. The report hinted at the cool down in the artificial intelligence frenzy and weighed on other AI chip and hardware makers. I don't think we need to cover anything else there, really, and there's plenty there for you. If you want it, you can use my Seek and Alpha link and you can get more. I do want to just cover a bit of this before I go into the analysis. This was just out 2 days ago as well. I just want to bring in, there's one paragraph I wanted to bring up here. The funding would be led by venture capital firm Thrive Capital, while existing investor Microsoft is also likely to participate in the round. Microsoft has invested multiple billions of dollars in OpenAI, Apple, and NVIDIA, which have partnerships with OpenAI, may also participate in the deal. I should probably read the opening paragraph just in case you're not familiar what I'm talking about. This is OpenAI said to consider changing structure to make it more investor friendly. Just in case you're not familiar with this story, OpenAI, the generative artificial intelligence startup backed by Microsoft, has been considering altering its structure to make it more friendly to investors, the Financial Times reported, citing sources familiar with the matter. And then I showed you the following paragraph. Right, let me now go on to NVIDIA. As we watch it fall, Sensei did give you the chart position. It could drop to 90, and he said on the way down he'd be loading up on the way down. Let me check my S&P. Is my S&P low enough? I'm down 1.8, which is double because of the margin that I'm in, but not enough for me to load up any more. I have to buy it lower than I've ever bought it before to buy it any more, because I'm all in with margin. I've got enough to get to $1 million. That's my goal. I know my goal. There's absolutely no point. If it does hit $90, of course, then I will be spending more on margin, and I'll take it even higher because it will bounce back so quickly, it won't concern me at all. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet, and NVIDIA is slowing down now. Right, let's look at the numbers. If you like this so far, consider smashing the like button and tapping the like, subscribing as well. That really helps the channel. Let's show you the numbers on NVIDIA now. Should we be concerned about NVIDIA? I'm going to tell you straight off the bat, spoiler alert, no, we shouldn't. This is just great opportunity in my book. $85 is the intrinsic valuation. Now, the intrinsic valuation doesn't take into account the future growth, all right? So overvalued by 28%. Now, as you know, I'm happy to overpay by 25% on a growth stock. This isn't the average growth stock. So 28% is a buy for me, even where we are today. Absolutely. Best case scenario, 45% undervalued. It's cheap. It's cheap. Worst case scenario, which we are not in a worst case scenario because we got rates coming down, we got a strong economy, we got increased spending. Everything here is good. So we're not in a worst case scenario. We are in a base case, and it's now touching 26%. This is very, 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 very good. 25% is where I'll buy a growth stock, and this is now a super growth stock. So valuation is great. Absolutely. Should you be buying it at 112? Absolutely. Absolutely. We should be buying it at 112. Let's go down and look at what should I bring up first? We've covered the earnings. We don't need to cover that again, but what we do need to look at is the latest numbers. So we've got revenue. Revenue here, we've got from their latest earnings, of course, was July 27th. That was their latest earnings. We've just had it. That's when the figures ended. 96.3 billion. Up. So great earnings. By any other stretch, it would have been fantastic. But look at the growth. It's virtually an S-curve. This is absolutely great. Buying NVIDIA here is a gift. Absolutely right. I just hope it keeps going down because it's not doing anything bad at the factory. It's not losing business. It's all good. As far as I'm concerned, it is all good. No issue with this at all. It's a good buy from me. Operating income up 25%, 59.6 billion, and expected to rise again by some margin as well. 53 billion net income, up 24%. Now, if you like the information you're seeing here, this is my Seeking Alpha. I've got an amazing deal here. This is, I know the CEO. There is my Seeking Alpha. I'll put the links below if you're watching the video later. But in the live chat, there is Seeking Alpha. All of my members can get this for free. Yes, for free. If you want the premium version, which is what I'm using, you can get a discount so good, it makes my membership for free. That's how good that is. There's my membership. I know the CEO, CNBC, Bloomberg, nobody gives this deal, and it'll never go away, and it'll always be that good. Right, what about financing cash flow? Down 23%. That's a negative. Investing cash flow is up 18%. That's a negative. However, another positive here is operating cash flow. That's what it's all about. Up 20% and increasing exponentially. Very, very nice indeed. Let's show you for further information the assets of the company, 85.2 billion. 85.2 billion, whereas liabilities is 27 billion. So we've got a perfect balance sheet. A perfect balance sheet. Shall we look at cash? 34 billion. Now, normally I don't like a business with piles and piles and piles of cash. 34 billion. It should be investing. It's done it. It's just making money now. This is the perfect business. All right. I don't like normally that amount of cash, but with interest rates high, and they're going to come down, but slowly. NVIDIA just keeps making money on its uninvested cash. How much debt does it have though? Long-term debt. Can you believe it? 8.5 billion. 8.5 billion. 31%. That is all of its long-term debt. 31%, and bearing in mind of its liabilities rather, bearing in mind it's less than half, nearly a third actually, liability. So it's a tiny fraction of its assets and its cash. So an excellent, you can't get much better balance sheet than that. Gross margins. Now this is where it crushes the competition. 76% gross margin, 60%, 62% operating margin, 55% net margin, 49% FCF margin, 110% ROCE, ROIC, 138. If you want the full definition for these, I will share it on the screen, but you can use my software and get all the extra information, of course, that I'm using here. 82% ROA. I mean, does it get better than this? No, it doesn't. 128% ROE. What about the... in fact, we've covered the latest earnings. Do we need to cover it again? Very, very briefly. NVIDIA announced record Q2 revenue of 30 billion. 30 billion, a 122% increase year over year, driven by robust AI and data center growth. Data center revenue hit 26.3 billion, up 16% sequentially. We've done enough. We've already covered the earnings. Is this not a great business to own and keep and don't trade? Yes, it is. Profitability score, the highest on planet Earth, 98%. You have never and never will see a profitability score higher than that, 98%. Balance sheet, 84%. You won't see anything higher than that either. Every single metric has a tick. It couldn't be better. Now then, here's some warnings. Wall Street, lowest possible worst case scenario, down 57%. Now, imagine it went down 57%. Remember, high growth, high volatile stocks like this, and when I say volatile, I don't mean volatile in business. That's solid. That's one way, and that's up. But of course, huge profits mean huge selling. So we've got a huge potential downside. Like always, keep cash on the side. I don't use cash, I use margin. My cash is already invested. Every penny I own is working for me. I then use margin to buy more. That's why big businesses hold debt. Nothing wrong with using margin to buy great businesses. 50%, 57% downside. Can you imagine if it approached worst case scenario? First of all, it won't, because we're not in a worst case scenario at all. We're not even close to a worst case scenario. We're at very least average. We'll come on to that in a second. But can you imagine if we were in a worst case? There was some giant drop. There was some giant news. How quickly would it bounce back with profits and margins and business like they have? If for some reason the biggest investors in NVIDIA dumped it really quickly, it would be to manipulate the market to buy it back instantly because they've got so much profit. Absolutely, 100%. So if it goes down 57%, great. I would be using my margin and I would buy every single share I could through the S&P. I'd buy every single share I could. Be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Hope it does. I hope it does. I don't hope the business fails. I hope the business does well. But I hope everyone dumps the stock and lets me buy it cheaper. Damn right I do. But that's not going to happen. Let's take that off the table. Here is what's going to happen at worst. 18%, which means you're going to beat the S&P anyway. That's the average, 140. That's the price I've been saying for the longest time. 130 on earnings, and it just touched it and then sold off, and then 140. Absolutely, I haven't changed. 140 all day long. All day long. Just waiting for it to happen. Just waiting for it to happen. Now, I also told you it would go to $200. Wall Street say in a perfect situation, which we are right now, 210. It's exceeding my $200 target. So all of that is pretty good in my book, but there you go. Let's scroll down. Who's shorting the stock? Nobody. Nobody. 1.19. No one's shorting it. They're just selling it. Those that tell you everyone's shorting the stock, no, they're not. 1.19. No one's shorting the stock. There's no short interest, no short squeeze. There's just dumping before you buy it back. Nothing wrong with this company at all. At all, right? There's the competition. Check it out. Fill your boots. You can scroll over these, and I can give you the software where you can scroll over these and look at it. Ownership. We've already done the ownership. Who's dumping the stock? These are very small, insignificant preset trades. They're not sentiment trades, are not management dumping. They're just normal tax positions that all big businesses do all of the time. There's no issue whatsoever. I've already shown you this, and if you want some more evidence of it, I'll share with you this way. This is a better visual to explain it. If we scroll down here and you see the insiders, which is really what we're talking about. We don't care what Robinhood investors are really doing. Couldn't care less. I'm a Robinhood investor. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, does it? Insiders, that's what's important. It's getting smaller now. But if we look at it and we see what it is, it's automated selling. It's not an issue at all. There you go. Uninformative sell. What does that mean? See, look, Jen Huang is selling. He's trimming off the top. It's nothing. It's nothing at all. It's very, very small. Automatic sell transactions. These are very small positions. I know it looks like a lot of money to you and me, and it is. But it's nothing for the company. It's not sentiment. Uninformative selling. It's just standard procedure. Nothing to worry about. It happens all the time. No issue. Nothing to see here. All right, let's scroll down and let's have a look further down. Anything else? No, nothing there. Okay, we're good. So let me wrap up with my analysis on this, my final thoughts. As we can see, the S&P is down 2.14 for me because it's double because of margin. It's actually only down 1 and a bit, but for me, it's down double. So 1 and a bit, whereas the NVIDIA is down 5.72. Now, NVIDIA is 6 point something % of the S&P. When we hit the bottom, could be 90. I don't know. Don't care. It's cheap at this price. All of a sudden, get ready for a massive takeoff. And when it does, up goes the S&P, down goes the Russell. People take their profits, sick and tired of buying rubbish, buy back the great businesses, and up we go. You don't trade NVIDIA, you own it. Simple. You own the business. There's my thoughts on NVIDIA this morning. Do you agree with me? Leave me your thoughts below in the comments. I'll give you all the links once again right now. So if you are watching the show live, here is my alpha spread. I'll give everybody watching it later on. I'll give it below in the chat, in the description and the links below. Seeking Alpha, there is my link as well if you're watching me live. If you want some free stocks, US and the UK, I've got two links here. We're giving away 5 up to $175 stocks. I get some, you get some, we both get the same, so there you go. I'll also give you the here's the USA link. Again, I'll give this to everybody watching the video later, but this is for everybody in the chat because obviously we give perks to people watch us live. Here is the UK stocks. So if you are in the UK, you can get free stocks as well. There you go. So if you'd like to go and check out Sensei's full analysis on this and see why he says it can go down to 90, this is what we've just made for you. I'll share with you right now. On the home page of the channel, if you look down here on the home page, you can select videos and you can see our latest chart analysis. We've done super microcomputer, we've done Lilium, there's NVIDIA, There it is right there. We've just posted it last night, ready for this morning's trades. We do it on a Sunday night. You can go and see why he thinks it could go as low as 90 and all the buy zones, the sell zones, support levels. There's Salesforce. We've done Salesforce. We've done a full analysis on Bavarian Nordic, ISIG, Intuitive, and LTRX chart as well. There you go. So that's my thoughts on NVIDIA this morning and my overall thoughts on the markets. Leave me your comments below. I will reply to every single one of my members, answer every single one of your questions by hand. I type it in. I don't use AI. It's me doing it. No one does it. That's why I filter by members to make sure I answer every question from every single member. Click above my head for all the links. If you click down in the description and click the more button at the bottom, that opens up the links if for some reason you can't find the links. All right, the more button. But also in the description, you'll find all the links I've been talking about. And over here, I shall put the event of the decade, the FOMC report. You cannot afford to miss it right there. And down here, I shall put the NVIDIA playlist. So all the things, including Sensei's chart, will all be there for you right there. Until next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other.